I also encountered an issue where when I picked up apples, they got thick. We recently got a snowstorm here in Missouri. It was to the point to where the governor even declared a state of emergency. So my girlfriend and I played a lot of the new Pokemon game. The game's great, and I think it's my favorite Pokemon game, but I used to be an absolute hater of it. They showed the game off like last year, and man, did it look booty. The animations on the Pokemon were so low FPS, and the roll just didn't make sense at the time. But now the game came out, and it's doing absolutely amazing, which has inspired me so much because I finally got to see the curtain pulled back on a huge title like this. So with all that inspiration, let's get into a devlog. Also, I recently got this Inteleon figure at a Pokemon store that opened up near us. Didn't need to tell you that, but I wanted to show you it because it's cool. And it's my devlog. I can show you my cool lizard. Okay, let's get on to the actual devlog. In the last devlog, we had 0 things added to the HUD, and this time around, I want to change that. The first thing that I wanted to make was the inventory, so you could pick up items and put them in the inventory. Real quick, we're gonna look at the concept to see some of the things that we need on the HUD. There's things like the Gelli's level and its experience bar and the inventory and the sell button. We're actually gonna be adding even more to that today as well. Now you can pick up items and put them into the inventory. Little bit of a problem. You can see the item kind of goes below and we need it in front, and I'm gonna need to figure that out. To fix this, I basically made an image that appears in the HUD over top of the actual world objects so that I can interact with the HUD with the item and not have it be below the HUD while still keeping the physics of the actual item itself. If you use Unity, you will know that you can't take like a world object and just like put it over top of the HUD. That's not how it works. It's not like a layering thing. It's a little more difficult to have to get around things like that. I also encountered an issue where when I picked up apples, they got thick. I should have kept that one. Now I have an inventory that works well and it looks nice. Also, ignore the bruh button. You don't need to look at the bruh button. That's not there. You don't see that. Next, I did something insane and I added a custom cursor. It's a dot. It's a white dot with black around it. Then I added text so you know what the name of the item you've picked up is. And I really didn't like the text. And if we go back to the concept, my text had black outlines and I had no idea how to do that in Unity. And oh boy, you're about to see me get pretty angry. But before we mess with text, let's make some particles. I wanted to spruce the game up just a tiny bit and add some particles for when you harvest a crop. I wanted the particles to match with the game's box aesthetic, but these ones were a little bit too big. I gotta make them smaller. Okay, I think these are looking pretty good. Now the game just looks a little bit nicer. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of seeing that Gelli slide around, so let's animate this baby. I love this so much. He looks so good. I love it. It's great. Okay, back to the HUD. I added some placeholders for the visuals, and here I am just adding the little hunger points. This is where my struggle with text began. I wanted to have outline text so it was easier to see and it was more like the concept. I did not know how to do it in Unity. If you did something with an outline, it would just change the color of the outline and the inside would be transparent and so I figured out how to do it and I downloaded this font, and it requires me to actually have to fill the font in. So here's me filling in a bunch of letters. It was actually kind of satisfying, honestly. I was very afraid that I wouldn't figure out how to do this, and it was actually kind of scaring me at that point because I really wanted a nice font for the game. And now that I know this knowledge, I can apply it to future games and even to Gelli World. Now I need to add it to the game, but before I add it to the game, smack the freaking like and subscribe and notification bell and the button. Hit all the things in the description and check it all out so you can witness my descent into YouTube madness. I'm gonna become a content creator. Now my game has an awesome font. Yes. Oh my gosh, it took me so long to figure this out, and it wasn't really even that difficult. While the wind was howling and the snow was falling, I was building this medieval blacksmith Lego set that I got from my girlfriend's dad for Christmas. And oh my gosh, it is awesome. Next, I wanted to add a new mechanic, which are called friend points, and it's basically your Gelli's health. In the game, you stumble upon a Gelli and it wants to become your friend, and if it loses all of its friend points, it gets bored and it doesn't want to hang out with you anymore. This is what happens when I record. This cat. He just won't stop until he comes in the room. Obviously, when you lose all of your friend points, you lose the game. Now we have a full game loop, which is even more than the original game had. Your Gelli now loses hunger, as you can see on the bottom left. And when it's out of hunger, it'll start to lose its friendship. When its friendship goes to 0, the game restarts. But it's bugged here. Like I said in the first devlog, I want everything to be random, so that means random Gellis. And what's the counterpart of a Gelli? That's right, it's a Pastelli. Pastelli is basically a jelly, but pink, and also the horns are a little bit shorter. Also, look how that baby sleeps. Now when the game starts, it can choose between you starting with a jelly or a Pastelli, and obviously when you lose and it restarts, you can have a different jelly when it restarts. What even was that sentence I just said? The game is random, you get random jelly. What more do I have to say? Now, jellies aren't the only thing that'll be random. Even the biome you spawn in will be random. So to show that off, let's make a second biome that I'm calling the Rocky Retreat. I thought it'd be cool if the ground was like rocks, but there was also a little bit of grass as well. I was kind of going for more of a mountain feel with this one. Now there's rock on the ground as well as some grass, and all of the biomes are kind of like in a dip. So the left and the right sides of the biomes come up, so I have to make side tiles as well. I don't know about you, but I think that looks good. Now I wanted to show you guys that the biomes in this game are gonna be wacky, and one of the best ways to show that is by showing off the Ignala tree. It's basically a rock tree. After I worked on that, I decided to make another rock tree that would have a fruit that comes off of it called rock candy. I basically made just a bunch of squares and changed the colors of them to be nice and colorful to look like candy. I actually really like it. Of course, what's a biome filled with rocks if I don't add some extra rocks? Next, I made another crop, and I wanted that to be a mushroom. I also wanted it to look a little bit like lava, maybe. Then I decided I don't want the rock candy to come from a tree. I want it to come from a bush. Boom, rock candy bush. I thought the biome was looking a little bit meh, so I thought it'd be cool to incorporate grass into a lot of the other sprites. Now I think the biome is looking good. Next, I wanted a jelly that fits the color scheme of the area, and what better jelly than the biter? He is so adorable in cube form. Now I needed to draw the different growing stages of all these crops that I just made. There's the rock candy bush done. The mushroom looks really funny when it's like that. Next, I made the funny mushroom grow. Next is the fun part, actually making the biome in the game. If you have any ideas for jellies or biomes, leave them in the comments because I definitely want to take your guys' ideas and put them into this game. I wanted the biome to be kind of mountainous, so I made this big old hill in the background, and I think it looks really cool. Of course, I added the trees and the rocks and the grass and all of that stuff as well. Now the biome is in the game. We have the rock candy, and we also have the rock candy bush. I didn't add in the mushroom yet, but I'll definitely have to add that in later. Next, I added in all the decorations like the trees and the rocks and the grass so that they can spawn as well in that biome. Next is something that I spent some time on, and sadly I didn't like it and got rid of it. But I had the idea that whenever your jelly would gain experience, it would actually be a physical item, kind of like the XP orbs in Minecraft. I also made it so that the jelly level and the experience bar on the bottom left was actually functional. Now when you harvested crops, it would drop experience. I also backed up my project and then upgraded it to the universal render pipeline so I can have cool disco lights. And then I got rid of the physical XP, now you just automatically gain it. Sucks that I got rid of it, but I didn't really like it. I didn't want you to have to click on it because that gets a little annoying, and I didn't want you to have to hover over it because that also gets annoying. It was a neat idea though. Next, I added a pop-up that appears when you gain experience, but it just straight didn't appear. No idea what happened. Okay, I fixed it. Now when I gain experience, if you look on the bottom left near the jelly's level, you can actually see how much experience that you gain when you do an action. This is actually crazy that I've gone this far without actually adding this, but next I added plantable seeds. That is so weird. I've gone this long and I have not added plantable seeds. They also give you experience for planting them. So every time you level up, you actually will get a present based on your jelly's level that will give you items that are helpful to you. So for example, you could get an item that unlocks a new jelly, you could get items that unlock new biomes, or you could get stuff like seeds that you could plant. When you level up, I wanted a present to spawn in the sky and float around on a balloon, and you have to pop the balloon in order to get what's inside it. Now the balloon is moving across the screen, and when it hits one of the edges of the screen, it actually turns around and goes the other way. It's also supposed to fall gracefully and then open when it hits the ground. You kind of can just do stuff like this, and it's a little bit buggy right now, I'm not gonna lie. Now it's moving around much more gracefully, but the collision's still a little bit broken. Okay, I got it this time, okay? Okay, maybe I didn't. This is it, this is it! What? Okay, now it's actually working, and it's great, and it's amazing, and I think that's everything for the devlog. I might actually be at 8,000 by the time I post this devlog, but right now I'm almost at 8,000, so I'm just gonna say thank you so much for 8,000. That is crazy. If you aren't subscribed, I hope you subscribe, and I also hope that you like this video if you like this video. Okay, I'm gonna go now. Bye. Well, I'm gonna do the patron outro first. Thank you so much to my patrons for being my patrons, giving me money, and now I can buy a hamburger. I actually don't eat that many hamburgers, but thank you so much to my patrons for helping support the channel. And if you want your name at the end of the video and to see all my devlogs early, check out the Patreon link in the description below. Bye.